Bom dia. Hoje, dia 11 de outubro. Estamos aqui num dia especial. A gente vai pintar bastante, conversar bastante. Tem um convidado especial aqui, vamos falar com ele daqui a pouco. Já vou chamar. Ah, como vocês estão? Arrumando aqui os comandos. Bom dia, deixa eu dar um bom dia aqui no YouTube. Bom dia. Deixa eu desligar esse tundum aqui. Pronto, sempre aqueles comandos. Legal, gente. Bom dia, bom dia, bom dia. Pessoal entrando, bom dia, vamos chegando. Cláudia, Verô, Marise, Fernando, Lúcia, como vai? Como vão, gente? Elisete, Fernanda, Claudinho, Neuza, doutora Ana, Cláudia. Enquanto eu vou regulando tudo aqui. Legal, estamos hoje, como vinha falando, dia 11 ah, de outubro. Hoje a gente tem uma demo livre uma demo livre que eu vou compartilhar com vocês um material que eu venho aqui testando já há algum tempo, ah, que eu venho gostando bastante, venho pintando com ele. Ainda não dou aula com esse material, ainda ah, não trabalhamos com esse material em aula na escola. E a gente vai falar um pouquinho sobre ele aqui. Trouxe um convidado especial da fábrica que produz esse material, então a gente vai bater um papo com ele. Quem tiver dúvida pode mandar no chat. Tá? Vocês podem usar o chat do Zoom para a gente fazer isso. Pode usar o chat do YouTube também para quem estiver assistindo o YouTube. Mandem as perguntas, eu vou abrir para algumas perguntas. Já peço desculpa antecipada se eu não conseguir responder todas, às vezes passa alguma ali. Mas basicamente a gente vai bater esse papo, um papo, como sempre, aqui na Demo Livre, um papo livre, informal. Vamos ter ele aqui para contar um pouco sobre a história da marca, sobre a história do produto. Vou pintar com esse produto também, mostrar para vocês como é que está, como que ele é um pouco, claro que, né, através de uma tela, e assim, não sendo uma demonstração rápida, é difícil falar tudo sobre o produto, melhor mesmo é testar, mas basicamente é um óleo à base d'água. Vamos entender isso, um óleo à base d'água, né? O que é isso, um óleo à base d'água? A maior parte do encontro hoje, gente, da Demo Livre, vai ser em inglês, tá? Até porque o nosso convidado aqui, ele fala inglês, e conforme a gente vai conversando, eu vou traduzindo algumas coisas principais, tá? Não tem tradução simultânea, não tem um tradutor, então não vou traduzir tudo também, vou traduzir só algumas coisas principais. E é isso, gente. Bem-vindos, bem-vindas mais uma vez. Good morning, everyone. People who speak English, most people here speak Portuguese, Spanish. Um, Even our guests speak Spanish too. If you guys have some question, please asking. You can ask him in Spanish, and he's gonna take care of that perfectly. Thanks, everybody. Today is a special day, as I was like talking, speaking, saying here like in Portuguese, because I'm going to, paint with a very special product for me. It's a product that's, we didn't have this product in the art history. So that's what I call like, thanks for the technology, thanks for the science. We can have this kind of product nowadays. So this is great for artists because like we have like when we have brands and products working with us, we can improve our works, our painting. We can improve our creative process. We can have more options like to experiment. We can have like options to even change something in our process. Remembering that material for me is not the most important. The most important for me are things like the creative process, the way you read the reference, and all these kind of things, like the planning, right? Before uh, start touching in any kind of materials. Materials are used to express your ideas and your mainly your creativity. So when you have like a material that can give you different options, different ways to express yourself, you get some options to work with, to create your voice, to improve your process and everything. This is a great union when you have this creative process and you are open to experiment, to taste different materials. That's the most important for me. So let's call Marcel from Schmincke. He's here. Let me pin our screens here. Here we go.
Well,
Add
Ari,
spotlight. Welcome, Marcel. Welcome
thank you
here.
very much. What a wonderful introduction to the material. I'm very happy.
Yeah, that's
Buen
true.
dia
That's
a
true.
todos.
Oh, see. Yeah, he can speak
Buenos
Portuguese
dias.
even.
Unfortunately, my Portuguese isn't much existent. Spanish a bit better, but we agreed to do that in English.
Yeah, let's do it. If you can, like, we can just speak slowly, and I think everybody can understand. And yeah, even me, you and me, English is not our first language, so it's good
Indeed,
for. Yeah,
indeed.
perfect. So welcome, Marcel. Good to see you here. Thanks a lot for coming. And Schmincke is a brand that I use since I was like 14 years old kid when I started like in the professional game. When I start like in the advertising agencies, illustrating things. I got from my parents like a 24 full
Wow.
pen, yeah, 24 full pen set. So I still have it in Brazil, the original one, all rusty, but it's there. You know what I mean? Like as a mark of
Still working?
yeah, still working to get some
Yeah.
to give some, but yeah, this is important when you like a brand, like when you start working with some brand, it goes with you like for the entire professional life, something like that. And Schmincke for me is one brand of that, like I really trust in the colors. I really trust in the consistency. And now we have this new product, and I'm very impressed. I was in Germany last year in that creative world, right?
Yeah.
At the time that the product was launched, and since then I'm just testing it, and I'm just in love with this product, like discovering many things, even in my process. Things are changing in my process because the product. So that's what I was talking about. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Ari. And I really appreciate the opportunity you give me here to be part of this special occasion and yeah, to share a couple of insights on what we here at Schmincke do every day, where we are coming from, and yeah, also to share some insights on the product you're using. And as you've mentioned, you have a set of 24 colors back back in Brazil, and this is actually where Schmincke started. I mean, we have to travel back 143 years, so
Wow.
in a different century when Mr. Hermann Schmincke and his brother-in-law, Mr. Joseph Hordam. So you already can
Mm,
recognize the company's name and the name of our watercolors. They've been both PhD chemists, and they were working in a factory producing a pigment, a very well-known pigment, the ultramarine pigment, which you and everybody else um, will for sure know. But they wanted to entrepreneur, and they
mm,
wanted to yeah, start their own business journey. And especially Joseph Fordham, he was a very passionate artist, a watercolor artist, and he wanted to investigate more in the field of watercolors. So they started their journey and looked for different different materials, and they met with Cesare Mussini, an Italian professor of fine art, and he was teaching in Florence, Italy,
That's
and
interesting.
he had some very special formulas for oil paints,
Wow.
and these are to date are still unique worldwide because he found a formula of resin oil paints. So he reduced the amount of oil in the paint and exchanged that with a resin, which enables the artist to paint in very thin layers, and gives you um, exceptional translucent colors due to the resin, the glossiness, the brilliance. And but he had one major problem.
Mm.
He, he was an artist, and
That's a,
he didn't want to get involved with all the business and
definitely, that's a
and
big problem. That's a big
and
problem.
also and also he didn't had any idea how to fill his material, his paint into a container which preserves the quality over time. Because you think back 150, 200 years ago, an aluminum tube wasn't a standard. It was just coming up. And so they sat together, the three, so Schmincke, Hordam, and Mussini sat together and said, well, we're eager to find a way to preserve your colors, and put them in a container, and make them accessible not only to your students in Florence, but to the world.
Right. Yeah.
And so the Schminke journey started, and apparently Holdem and Schminke found a way to fill them, and
Wow.
ever since we're producing these oil paints here in Erkrath, where I'm currently at, and that's the very first product, and this is how the journey of Schminke started.
Wow, that's interesting. So everything started with the Mussini. We can say that.
Everything started with Mussini, and saying that um, we we focused on oil paints, but the very first self-developed paint line was then the Holdam watercolors.
Mhm.
And so after 11 years after founding the company, so 1881 foundation, and Holdam spent 11 years to investigate on his own watercolor line. He
Wow.
believed in gamma arabic as the binder, and he also wanted to ensure that the quality in a tube is the same as in the pan. So he investigated on the technology and investigated on the formulas. 11 years later, long story short, he released his paint line, and this is the first of many other paint lines we then have launched, um, as in our own recipes.
That's very interesting. So everything started with Mussini oils. Then the Horadan launched its line, and that's very interesting because it's a process. And yeah, once you have the pigment, you need the pounder, the pigment. You have something to mix it up. In certain instance, like it's easy to make pigment. So let's say it's easy. Like the math is easy. You need pounder, the color pigment, and you need the you know the agglutin the thing that agglutinate everything In oil, you
the
need like
binder.
exactly. In watercolor, you need Arabic gum, right? So, but of course, we know that it's a big company and there is many things plus, right, to make like a good color, to make like a perfect something to stabilize everything. So, what else you can say about the pigment? What else like as important has like in the pigment in all of them? Because like Schmincke does mainly oil colors and watercolors, right? Schmincke doesn't does it do acrylics also? Yes.
We also do acrylics. We have a line of different gouache paints. We also do specialities like lino print colors. But saying that, we ever since Schmincke and Hardam started the journey, we we're dedicated in yeah, trying to get the maximum out of each single pigment. All our colors are based on real pigments. So we don't do any paint line which is on dyes. So
Right.
we believe in the light fastness of a pigment. Certainly, some pigments have a higher light fastness than others, which
Right. Yeah.
we cannot change. But it's it's for us the heart of every color, which gives you the characteristic. And you as an artist, you want to work with the pigment. You want to get as close to the pigment as possible and try to extract the well, you know it better than I,
Right.
but you wanna engage with the pigments you use.
Right.
And
Right. Yeah.
Schmincke and Hordam are attached to our symbol, the owl, Meliora cogito. It's Latin, and in English, it's I strive for the better.
Wow.
And this is our daily motivation of all of us here, trying to get the maximum out of each single pigment, trying to find the best possible combination of pigment and binder to provide you eventually the joy in painting.
Wow. Yeah. I'm just proud to use, I'm just proud to use this material. Wow. Yeah, that's what we, expect from any company, right? Once you are buying like any kind of product, you are at least expecting that. So that's the maximum. That's the maximum a company can do for us as a customer. So that's wonderful. Yeah, thanks,
Uh,
man. That's very interesting. Let's just, paint a little bit for, in a while.
yeah.
But tell me, I have a question for you because like the market is changing a lot. We're talking about like 150 years ago, when everything started, right? Uh, let's see here. When everything started, but since let's say 2000, 1990, things changed like 10 times between 100 years ago and the beginning of the century. How are things now, do you think, like about the art market, about the product, how you feel like the artists are like looking for, how all this social media and digital things, like once it's here, how it's affecting, like how it's changing? Because like affecting in terms of good things, right? In terms of new things, right? There is no wrong, there is no right, there are some facts, and facts are facts. You have to adapt in how all this thing is like, uh, how Schmincke is what Schmincke is learning from all these things, and together with us artists.
Yeah, that's a very complex question. So let's try to divide it into some parts. As we focus on producing finest artist paints ever since, and this remained throughout the last decades the same. We try and focus to optimize our processes internally. We try to source the best possible material, and there are over the years challenges to overcome internally as well as externally with sourcing. Certainly, demands change over the time. If you look on the watercolors, for example, back in the days, it was rather a technique used by elderly painters, focusing on a very limited color palette, lemon yellow, maybe a magenta, basically speaking the primaries. But now, since let's say the last 10 years, poppier colors, fancier colors are much more upcoming. You want to have pinks. You want to have granulating colors. Granulation wasn't for portrait painters or landscape something which wasn't appreciated for a long time, and now it's it's very crucial for watercolor painting.
Yeah.
But fair to say is that with all the digitalization, all the trends from marketing being hand printed decades ago, all digital. But what remains at present is that making art or painting is a certain relief or certain contrast to the everyday life. And with that, we understand and acknowledge and really value that you as the artist dedicate your precious free time using a product of ours. And so it's our motivation, our dedication to provide you with the best material. And so the precious time you spent with no disturbance, so to say.
Yeah.
And yeah, this is what keeps us looking into that.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I can say even we are seeing like an explosion since like 10 years ago, an explosion of art, right? Art is like everywhere. Materials are everywhere, like especially watercolor are everywhere. Watercolor is like being people are looking for watercolors since 2000, like crazy. Like the technique, the material just exploded. But this is like I can say is global movement, not just one and another, but we can see this movement all over the planet. And I agree with you when we say like we need something to relieve our daily lives, and art is like getting another position in the society. Nowadays, in as a school of art, we can see people looking for practicing. Everybody wants to, put your hands on the process, not just see the picture or the painting on the wall, but people wants to, prove. People wants to taste the thing. People wants to get dirt with colors. You know what I mean? That's wonderful. That's wonderful. That's just, that's a big movement of art in the planet. We can see that, especially for, with the products with a water base. And then here comes like a product, right, that put together the best things in oil, I think, for me, right? That's my own opinion. The best thing in oil for me is the texture, the touchable texture for me is the most important thing in oil. And actually the colors in oil are, just, the best technique to create colors, to work with colors, for me is oil paintings. So, but I'm call myself until now, like, I don't know if this is like a right expression, but I can say like I'm a watercolorist. That means an artist that use some specific material. But now, since I start to work with this Norma Blue, I call myself like a water-based artist, a water-based artist. So, I mean, I choose water-based materials to work with, not just watercolor. I'm not a watercolorist anymore. I'm a water-based artist. Once I'm using oil with a water base. And let's get this subject, because we are here to talk about Norma Blue, especially to prove. I want to show you something about Norma Blue. I'm gonna do like a demonstration with this product, Norma Blue, and man, it's impressive to to understand a little bit more about the Schmincke, the brand, the products. I really wanna learn more from you, but we need like a half day, 1 day talking.
Well,
I need to do a
yeah,
visit in the factory to do that.
yeah.
So yeah, we have like I have a question about this product. The first question about Norma Blue: is it water-based product, or it's water mixable product? What is exactly that? Because people ask me, and I ask to myself, how come oil can be water soluble or water mixable with water? That's the first question.
It's magic.
Yeah, that's
No,
magic.
so
That's magic. Possible. Man,
and
magic happened here.
yeah, the magic happens on the paper. No, and this is the tricky question. And we're not the pioneers in releasing a water soluble oil paint, but we've spent a long time investigating in the process. And as we're striving for the better, we wanted to ensure that the quality in the Norma Blue is at a very, very high level. Bringing it down to the bottom, it's a water soluble oil paint. So it's still based on an oil, but it's somewhat, and that's the chemistry. It's a modified oil, which yeah, which, how to put that, which releases the tension of the color so that water can go into it.
That's amazing.
Um,
That's amazing,
and
Marcel.
in simple terms, that's how it's not the traditional linseed we use, it's a modified version. And
Mm,
what I hear from during my travels on all over the world, and when we talk about paint in general, and everyone says, well, it's lovely to paint, but at the end of the day, you need to clean your brushes. But and no artist likes cleaning the brushes. And I've heard several saying, well, but Norma Blue, it's water soluble oil paint, and it reacts on the brush so easily.
right.
It doesn't clog. You
Yeah.
just can yeah, release it. And that's our um that's one of many. We're going through them advantages of the paint line.
Right. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Um, but the most the thing that just got makes me impressed is like the when you are working with, we don't it's not different from oil. Definitely it's not different from oil. It's the same texture, the same taste. Like you paint like you're painting with butter when you're painting with oil. So it's exactly the same. The only thing is you can make some waterly effects here. That's the most amazing. I'm putting together the two techniques here. Like I'm using that, water stain, water marks and things, and using the texture of the oil. So it takes a little while to get dry. That's for me is the main difference, because watercolor you finish and that's it. You put in your bag and
Yeah.
that's it. So when you're painting plein air, or when you're painting like outdoors, you have to take care of of the panel or whatever you're using to get dry for a while. But dries way faster than the Norma, right? Even the Mussini. So that's another question. What's the difference? Like, it's about product, not exactly Norma Blue, but what's the difference between Mussini and Norma, and why the Norma Blue is from Norma and not Mussina Blue, or to tell me something like that.
Wonderful. Wonderful. No, and um, generally speaking, we looked into we investigated where to place a water soluble oil paint line, whether on a student level, on a professional, or on a premium level. And we said, well, what's our core competence? Where we're coming from the finest oil paints. So we should try to improve on that field. And given the clear difference between Mussini and Norma is that Mussini is oil-based and a resin.
Mm.
Norma is purely oil.
Wow, that's good.
So saying that, or that's also important, you can intermix a Mussini paint with a Norma. So Mussini is still an oil paint.
With Norma, not with the Norma Blue, but we can mix with Norma,
Also with
right?
Norma Blue,
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
because the consistency is somewhat the same. And
Mm.
that's also why we've attached it to Norma, because we wanted to provide the artist with an alternative to on a very, very high level. It's now you can choose. Do you go the classic way with the traditional oil paint, or do you go the modern, also vegan way of painting without sacrificing quality?
Hmm.
And speaking of vegan, it's the very first paint or oil paint line which is fully vegan. So fair to say. Um, and yeah, also this matters. You asked the question, what has changed since the 1990s to today? This the vegan movement,
Yeah.
movement is is nowadays more important or more recognized than ever before, and we treat that very cautiously in terms that we we take great care in choosing the materials, and um, yeah, so even in that field, you can choose. You go Norma Blue, water soluble. Maybe you know a color from Norma,
Right. Yeah. Specific
and
one.
it's the same pigmentation we
Yeah.
use in the Norma Blue, so it's easily
Mm.
convertible in that field.
Right. Yeah.
So which makes the transition, maybe you have some allergies or don't want to work or
Hmm.
get engaged with the turpentines and the mediums. You want to be you want to go and just paint and don't want to
Yeah.
think about a
So
mixture. You just take the paint and go. Maybe some water, it's accessible, and you go without sacrificing a very high concentration of pigment.
right. Yeah. I did some tests with Norma Blue and Norma, and they just work perfectly together, like with some, touches here and there. But when you have to mix with some, to dilute with something, you have to use water for Norma, or uh,
Well,
yeah, the
you
proper
you
thing for
you
Norma Blue.
you can use water,
Yeah,
sure, but you won't use a water-soluble oil paint like a watercolor.
yeah, definitely.
You you can technically, but you rather would use a painting medium to thin your paint and make it smoothly applicable. You it's there's no one way of using the paint. You're
Right.
the
Yeah,
artist.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
You all are, you have your own way of working with the
yeah,
materials.
definitely.
And yeah.
This is good. Yeah, but it's always like, inside the studio as experimentation, we do every single thing. We break every rules. I think every company, like the people who creates the product, could be crazy seeing like an artist experimenting, um, doing crazy things with the material. So I myself like do like I paint over the paper, anything, any paper, any support for me is like, is paintball for with this color. We don't know about the durability, you know what I mean? But for instance, like to express yourself, any material, anything to do with the material is important. It's good. So, but it's important to to see, to check what the factory recommends. That's always important. So this is good. That's
Yeah.
nice. Yeah, good, perfect.
No, and also Norma has a great tradition. I mean, just a bit of history again, because well, I don't want to bore you with all the history, but
No,
let's
no,
make
we
it
have to. We have plenty
let's make
time. Don't
it
worry.
short
No,
and
it's very interesting.
but as we or with the Mussini paint as the very first line of Schmincke. Also here in the region of Düsseldorf, which is close to the Dutch border, we got yeah, some very good um, galleries, universities here in the region, who taught oil paint back in the days. And as the professors and teachers wanted to have their esteem, and they've approached me, well, can we do something special? And can yeah, Mr. Schminke, can we do something here? And at these days we we still are very open
Yeah.
to working together with the people who are using the paint. And so we did uh, a good variety of paint lines at somewhat same level for different processes. Some wanted to have more greens in their lines, some others want to have more blues. And also during the Second World War, then which is well, not the happiest part of the history, the factory got severely bombed.
Mm,
And we not only lost machines and
wow.
material, we also lost a couple of recipes.
Wow.
And yeah, so then trying to build up again what's left, we wanted to scrutinize a bit. And so we also sold some recipes, and what's remained, or to finance the rebuilding, but what
Mhm.
remained from the various oil paints at
Right.
somewhat same level, we normalized these to Norma Professional. So
Wow. That's
normalizing
That's interesting.
what's remained to a very high standard. So if you say you can it's has some influences from various users, and yeah, ever since it's 84 colors in the traditional line and 48 colors in the water soluble line.
Wow, man, that's very interesting. And that's another question. The next step, Norma Blue. That's very interesting. Normalized. So let's do it just Norma. And why Norma Blue?
Well, we thought on the name, and we thought, well, the water solubility, water is blue, blue is the color for water, and we yeah, that's why we said, well, we have the Norma professional at a very high level, recognized by artists all over the world. And let's make it at the same level of Norma, and yeah, to provide the artist with a vegan alternative, with a water soluble and maybe with a more modern approach to the oil paint, as oil paint for some said, whoa, you
Right. Yeah.
complex technique, and maybe with a water soluble paint, it's a bit more
Right. Yeah.
accessible.
Yeah. Perfect. Nice. Cool. Let's paint a little bit and keep the
Please.
conversation. Yeah. Let's paint a little bit with this Norma. I want to show, right, to the people this product.
The stage is all yours, and I'm excited.
Let's paint a little bit. So, have you tried the Norma Blue already in your studio, in your atelier?
Well, I have to admit, a bit embarrassing, but I'm not an artist myself, so I've did some demos with the product. I know it, but I wouldn't consider myself an artist, not at all. So I leave you doing the magic.
Man, you should grab your material and do that right now. Let me change this camera here. But you know why? That's another question. Like that's another subject. I'm gonna put just mine here that people can see, right? And I return with you with your I may with your picture here. So let me use just this one. So that's interesting because like who is the artist? Who is an artist? You know what I mean? Like, oh, I'm an artist, I'm not an artist. Once you're like taking some materials and doing something, right, with some content, you are an artist, period. If you're good or not, if you have ability to do like a nice thing is another question, is another conversation. But once you get some material, artistic material, and you want to say something, right, in a piece of paper or whatever, if you have some content here to say, some message, you're being an artist, period. That's it. So when you're like playing in your studio or atelier, Marcel, you are an artist. Now we are just
Thank you.
having a conversation, but you are an artist. So like, yeah, of course. So this is the Norma Blue, right? This is the product. It's a tube, comes in tube. Is there another version of for Norma Blue or just tubes for with 35 millimeters, Marcel?
We have the 48 colors available in the small tube of 35, and there are 10 colors available in a bigger tube of 120 mil.
Nice. This is the Norma Blue,
Mm,
right? This is cadmium red hue, a color that I like a lot. So I have some sort of blues, yellows. As I always say to my students, like I work with the primaries. For me, primaries are the most important, of course, like the blues, reds, and yellows. Um, I try to keep my palette always simple. I don't like to use many colors. Um, especially when we are painting plein air outdoors, we have, we can synthesize everything with 3, 4, 6 colors maximum. When you're working like in the studio, we can use a little bit more, but let's play with these colors here. This is the package of Norma Blue. Incredible how come, a big difference like between oils and watercolors is like you use white a lot. So, I need lots of white when I'm painting with when I'm painting with oils. And in this case, it's very impressive because like I take the process as I'm working with watercolor, but when you feel you need to use, when you like feel you have to use some white in the process, you kind of mix it up in your mind, the process, I mean? This is very interesting. You think like an oil process, but you think together as like a watercolor process. That's very interesting. People has to, to prove, to experiment, to know, to feel what I'm saying now. Let's speak a little bit em português. Gente, é isso, a gente falou bastante sobre o produto, falou bastante sobre a marca, a história da marca da Schmincke, a história do produto. Eu vou pintar um pouco. Alguém tem alguma pergunta que quer fazer para o Marcel? Deixa eu olhar aqui no chat. Bom dia, pessoal dando bom dia. No YouTube também. É uma demo, como eu falei para vocês, em inglês. Legal, gente. Bom dia, bom dia. Deixa eu dar uma olhada aqui no chat do YouTube. Good morning, Nona. Nowadays, we see many watercolor brands in the market. Is Schmincke still the best watercolor brand? And Nona, that's a very specific and personal question. Like I can give you my opinion. Yes, Schmincke is the best watercolor for many points, for many reasons. But yeah, definitely. Legenda, tá? The oil paints can be used in the same watercolor, paper, cotton. Yes, Nona, can be used in any support, right? Saludos, valeu, abraço, gente. Abraço para vocês. Todo mundo conseguindo assistir? Deixa eu dar uma checada aqui no YouTube. Vamos lá, vou começar a pintar alguma coisa aqui. Maravilha. So, let's go paint something. I have a reference here, tem uma referência, gente. Vou mandar para vocês no WhatsApp, no grupo, tá? Então, eu vou mandar no grupo de quem está no grupo da Demo Livre. I'm gonna send you the reference also, Marcel, just to understand what I'm painting. I'm gonna talk about the reference, the process, and everything. It's good to have the reference also. So, and then you go home, paint this reference, and send to me. Let's see what's going on. You can ask me anything, Marcel. You can leave your microphone on, and if you have some questions.
Thank you. Thank you.
So
no,
sure.
I'm just also now intrigued to see what you do with the paint. And I mean, we're here producing every day hundreds and thousands of paint tubes, but having the opportunity of seeing you using the paint is just beautiful.
Yes. Yeah, I can understand. Like you guys in the factory, like producing this product. It's amazing how you most of times you guys you don't have the idea how it works properly. right, in the process. And yeah, that's very interesting. So I'm going to show you, and I'm going to show everybody how is my process, right? There is many process. If you ask for, 100 artists, like they're going to ask you 30 different things. The most important thing is like there is no exactly a rule. There are many a law, let's say a law, but there is many rules, and rules are breakable, right? You can break any rule. So I'm using some rules here, but I'm using today. Tomorrow I can change something in the process. So once you like start using and using, um, things are start to change in your process, in your language, and in everything. So this kind of product changes a lot too. And let's talk about materials a little bit. I'm using a set of brushes. They are specific for oil paintings and water mixable oil paintings. So Da Vinci did this product to use with oil with water mixable. And that's interesting because like I'm kind of using the right brush for the right pigment, and it's working. Like I'm doing that like for 1 year, about 1 year, and I can say there is many things to learn still. Uh, there are many things to learn. Let me just fix this focus here. And yes, let's start it. I like to work with start work with some let's say a flat brush. I don't need to draw anything. I like to go straight, to the reference. I like to create everything here without any first marks. You know what I mean? Like this is, we can say like this is a la prima. And I'm mixing here some blues and some reds, right? Some don't ask me about the colors. People most of times like are asking like what kind of color you use. This is the blue, any blue can be any blue, cobalt blue, like a cerulean blue, or once I'm here like in the process, I just care about temperature, and I'm kind of making a little bit warm, so using some reds in the blue, and yeah. So this is the first step. See, I'm painting with oil, but it's amazing because like I'm doing exactly as I do with watercolors. So I love this kind of marks here. You know what I mean? I just love it. And I paint with watercolor because this kind of drips and things, and I love to see water in my painting. People, oh, we cannot work with some with lots of water, but remember that anyone has like different approach. Everything is right once you communicate here. So for me, it's perfect. I like um, this kind of effect here. Yeah, let's go. So let's use some strong colors here, like to create some effects and things, and surprises just shows up like this and
Maybe you
that.
can turn the camera a bit more down to see your mixtures a little more.
Here,
I feel
here,
that this. There we go.
here is good.
Yeah, yeah, wonderful, wonderful.
Here is good. See, I'm mixing
Yeah,
up everything here. Like this is my palette. I use everything here. I squeeze the paints over here, but I use everything. So I have sometimes for like big paintings, I use like a plastic container like that, and I mix it up lots of water and paint here and just pop, pop, pop. This is what I just love it. So another thing I like to keep here is the white spots. So when like you are painting in a classic way, oils in a classic way, you don't need to leave white space. You have to start with the dark ones. Like we have the option to start with the dark ones, right? When you're painting with oils. Um, some people start with dark, some people start with with the light ones. I like to start with the dark things in oils. But here I'm starting like with the light ones, like the light values, like I do like in watercolor. See, these kind of things I never did before with oils. So just with watercolor, and this is amazing. Just amazing. The mixturing here, like in there, it's working as watercolor, like a watercolor. I start painting like watercolor. This is amazing. Like that, and this. And I just love this kind of marks and stains here. I just love, this is part of my process. Those are part of my painting. I'm painting with this, watermarks. I like watermarks in my painting, so that's why I live like that. I do this kind of approach. This is water. For me, if you're painting with water, right, you have to have water in the painting. So this is the main thing for me for this reference, right? Yeah. And the approach is different, of course, it is, because you can, it doesn't dry as fast as a watercolor. You can apply some layer, of course. In watercolor, you have transparency. That's the most important. Here, we can have transparency also, but you can, apply layers, and that layer is gonna act like layers in oil, because there are layers in oil too, but they are different of watercolor layers. They are different layers. So for oil artists, you work with layers. You apply some layer here and another layer, and you scrape down, you clean it up, but always has something like, the first step. And yeah, it's just different. And we can say like this is a third way of approach. We get the oil approach, you get the watercolor approach, and you have here like a third way of approach. This is amazing. Let's see. Yeah, let's just wait a little bit. Wait a little bit. Controlling here and there. It's good. Yeah.
I'm really amazed to see this approach, because mostly if you think of an oil paint, you think of the old masters techniques, long processes, complex painting. But
Yeah. True.
seeing this, it it you make the colors so easily approachable, and
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
it's it's fascinating to see.
Nice. Thanks. Yeah, man, it's fascinating to work like that. You know what I mean? Like I'm discovering that, Marcel. That's why I can tell you, I can say like people, this is the new thing. It's a new thing
Wonderful.
yeah, it's a totally new thing.
Oh, you make an oil paint look like watercolor,
Yeah, yeah, something like that.
and
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
you can really see the pigmentation,
yeah, yeah,
it's wonderful. You don't need much of the paint, but
exactly. Yeah,
it's right there.
exactly. Yeah, and see the colors, how the colors, are mixing together, creating like totally new colors, and like a very beautiful range of colors here. with some 1, 2, 3, 4 colors here. And there is thousands of colors here, just mixing up like 3 or 4 cup of colors. It's great. So who does that? The water does that. Yeah, it's crazy. I just love it. And yeah, so, and now I'm working with the material, but I have to keep in mind the visual language, like the elements and principles of language has to be here, that I can have something. Let's create here proper, something here. I just enjoying a lot. I can tell you that. See, here comes the dark ones. Creating some depth. I like color a lot. Some people, like to, depends on the style, but most of artists or many artists like break the colors. I like to break the colors, but I don't like much to mute the colors. You know what I mean? Mute colors means like you use the complementaries and you mute one and another. So I like to mix it of them, but not necessarily muting them. Let's say here, let's create like a strong shape here of tree. See, that's a tree. And yeah, that's a tree. Okay. Another thing that I can say is my works about water, brush marks. I like to see, for instance, for some, at certain point, I like to see the water effects, but there's a point that I like to see my brush strokes. Then comes the oil, right? Yeah. Then comes the oil thickness to show the brush strokes I like to use.
So basically, you're starting using much water for the first layers, and then you go with less waters on top to create
Exactly.
the tension. If
Yeah.
I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, we can say. Yeah, we can say that almost that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So we still have to clean up. We still have we still need like a half an hour after our working day to clean up the brush. Not 1 hour, not 1 hour with like we had to use for oils, but half an hour we need to use it. But it's in the process. It's way easy. For
Yeah.
me, I don't mind. You know what I mean? Like you said, like most artists or most people complain about, oh, we have to clean up brushes. For me, it's like a meditation step in the day. Like, oh, let's just oof, relax and clean up the brushes. This is not a problem for me.
Yeah.
Depends on the artist, but for me, I like to clean up the brushes on the end of the day. Like um, even the
Relief.
smell.
Well,
Yeah, I don't care.
there's some people also like to do the dishes. So not
Yeah, yeah.
everyone likes that.
True. Exactly. True. Yeah. So clean up the brushes are like washing dishes. It's
Yeah,
a meditation process. You have
most
to.
certainly. Most
Yeah,
certainly. No, it's so
definitely.
fascinating to see how you how you use the colors, how you talk to them, and with a little mixture of a limited palette of colors, you create something. And as you said, there's no way of saying doing it
It's different, isn't it? Yeah. I'm creating series of paintings. Um, I want to show them like some for in the next year. Just with this product, I can tell you. Yeah, I'm working on in a future series that I'm gonna show like to the market, like to my students and everybody in the next year with some exhibition, and I'm planning some some mostra and exhibition with that. Yeah, and I like just to cruise. Um, you know, we have some special things here. Let me just use them.
Just fascinated to follow it, Ari. Thank you.
Thanks. I thank you. Yeah, this is nice, Marcel, having you here. Um, let's create this, black and white thing, positive, negatives.
Well, I'm, yeah, it's interesting. I Sadly I have no brush and paper here, so I would get also started.
Yeah,
But you give me some inspiration, so thank you for that. And um, yeah, I
this is the best
follow
part.
it closely.
Yeah, you forget everything, Marcel, and you just, concentrate in the process and, in the visual language here and there. This is this is just, about flotation.
Yeah, and a bit relief also.
Yeah,
And
it's a
you've
conversation.
mentioned all the social media and being on the phone or
Yeah,
on the iPad or on the TV every day, or you're confronted with digital media all the time everywhere you go. And
yeah,
this is, some would say it's an old-fashioned, but I would say it's also yeah, it's a contrast to what you see and what you get.
yeah. This is about I don't know. Uh, we forget a lot of things during this process. I mean, with the social media and all these electronic things and colors and lights everywhere. I talk a little bit about that in a series that I call Neon, investigating and asking for um, where we are at in all these things. I mean, what we are doing to ourselves,
Mm.
right? And when you're here, like we get together with ourselves again, something like that. I can say, like we can like kind of hear a voice that is our voice inside us, like people who likes to go fishing, you know what I mean? Like I was reading something last week that was like a fisherman guy saying like fishing is not about to catch fish but to be by yourself in the middle of nowhere, you know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. Just enjoying the silence and being
Yeah,
yeah, if you're outside being a rush, need to go to the office or to your workplace, or
yeah,
visiting friends, family, your lives can be rushing by so fast. And with the art or with fishing, there are many other things. I like to go swimming, for example, and this is
exactly, yeah.
my way of
Escape, right?
well, digesting is a big word, but my contrasts to the everyday life.
Right, yeah, sure. Inside a swimming pool, like we listen to nothing, but just by but just to yourself, right? I like to
Yeah.
swim. I like to swim too. Like it's excellent. Like you know that endless water and
Yeah.
track like going through and man, we can
Yeah.
spend hours doing that and like you get involved with that process. Here it's almost the same.
Yeah. So Ari, that's a new step, adding. You're back to more water now. So you had some thicker
Yeah,
layers on the top, going back to water.
exactly. Exactly. And I like to go um, sometimes a little crazy, like doing something like, like this, you know what I mean? Like something like this.
Mhm.
Creating some marks and some stains and things. Yeah, let's see. And I'm just, following the water, how the colors are like mixing together. Creating some, some things here and there. And I like to leave some white spots. That's the point. This is a watercolor um, characteristic, leaving white space.
Mm.
You know, um,
There's someone asking for a bit more Portuguese, which I understand, us being us talking all the time in English.
yeah.
Um, um,
Can you answer in Portuguese?
well, I would love to, but uh,
Let's see.
fair
No
enough,
chat.
no.
Ah, tá aqui, ó, já foi. Legal. Ah, tem gente aqui pedindo para eu falar um português. Ah, sim, posso falar, traduzir alguma coisa. É, they're asking me to talk a little bit in Portuguese.
Yeah,
Posso sim.
please do so.
Yes. Eu estava explicando aqui que esse material ele é uma terceira via, um terceiro material, gente. Você tem, para quem pinta óleo, é, hum, gosta muito de algumas características do óleo que não tem outras técnicas. Então, por exemplo, textura, mistura das cores no óleo para mim, a melhor que tem, em termos de complexidade de mistura de cor. O óleo é fantástico para isso. E quando você tem a aquarela misturada com óleo, você tem água e essa mistura toda. Então, é muito interessante. Ah, eu vou falar mais em inglês nessa demo, porque a proposta é ter o nosso convidado que fala inglês, para os meus alunos, estudantes, seguidores que falam inglês também. Então, a ideia é essa, mas eu falo, traduzir o máximo que eu puder. Então, aqui eu vou brincando com essas marcas. E aqui o processo, gente, eu esqueço um pouco até do material. Agora eu estou mais concentrado na linguagem visual. Tá? Isso para mim é o mais importante, a linguagem visual. Ah, e aí, o material ele vai me obedecendo. O que eu quero, o material vai me obedecendo. Na verdade, é isso. E é isso que eu procuro estar fazendo agora. O material está me obedecendo. Então, a gente precisa testar, provar, experimentar. Eu estou há um ano experimentando esse material, um ano testando esse material. Agora que eu estou começando a compartilhar um pouco mais sobre ele, vamos dizer que é um óleo à base d'água. Ah, um óleo diluível em água. Esse é o principal característica desse material. Então, é o que eu venho falando nessa demonstração com o Marcel, e a gente falando bastante sobre como a prática da arte hoje ela ocupa um lugar tremendo, né? Você praticar a arte, você praticar a pintura, como ela entra como uma prática de alívio, de relaxamento. O Marcel falou que gosta de nadar, muita gente gosta de ler, quem gosta de pescar. Eu estava até comentando sobre esses dias, eu estava lendo um artigo e o cara era pescador e ele falava: eu gosto de pescar, mas não é porque eu vou lá e vou pegar peixe. Eu gosto de pescar porque é uma sensação maravilhosa ficar no meio daquele rio, daquele lago, que seja sozinho, só eu. Então, esse era o prazer dele de pescar. Não vinha assim nenhum peixe para casa, mas não importa, ele foi pescar. É meio isso. Eu não fiz uma obra-prima para ir para o Louvre, mas não importa, eu pintei. Essa é a questão. Por que a gente pinta? Por que vocês pintam? Vocês querem ser famosos, quer ser artista famoso, quer ter o seu quadro reconhecido, quer ganhar prêmio, ou você pinta porque você quer pintar? Eu vou falar para vocês, eu pinto porque eu quero pintar, porque esse momento para mim aqui não importa se eu estou numa aula, se eu estou ao ar livre no meio do mato, se eu estou ao ar livre no meio de Bolonha com 200 mil pessoas em volta, ou se eu estou numa demo livre, onde eu estou, para mim o melhor de tudo de pintar é pintar. Tá de frente com essa cena, com a referência, e está traduzindo ela aqui com um material que te obedece. E o óleo obedece. A água não é mais rebelde, não obedece tanto, mas o óleo obedece mais. Então, aqui nesse momento, o óleo realmente me obedece. Então, é isso. Right, Marcel? Do you understand something?
I can follow it. I that's for sure.
Like what I'm saying. You do understand the
Yeah, yeah,
Portuguese? What I'm saying? Right?
yes.
Yeah.
Well,
Pretty
I
similar,
wouldn't
right?
wouldn't say I understand, but I can follow the conversation.
Right. Yeah. The main subject, but I just told them what we were talking about before.
Yeah,
The most important thing about painting, why you paint? Like that's the question. Why
yeah,
do you paint, right? Why do you swim? Do you want to be like an athlete? Do you want to go to the Olympics, or you swim just because like you're swimming? Why you're fishing?
yeah,
It's not to catch fish. I'm just why you are painting. I'm painting because like this step here, this feelings, the best feeling ever.
yeah. No, and what I certainly can say is that as you see here, it takes time. It's a precious time you dedicate to your painting, to developing it, and so do we. We dedicate a good time to produce the colors, and we have several steps of milling
Wow. Yeah.
the paint. So you mentioned the butteriness of or the consistency which you appreciate. This goes back to milling the paint, because also the pigments we use, or the pigments there are, have a different consistency and
Yeah.
different thickness, a different weight, and to generate a homogeneous paste,
Yeah.
we
This is amazing.
mill the paint. And we could do so only one time, but for the Norma, we do it about 4 times. So 4 times
Wow.
the batch size. We mill it over and over again. So really and each single steps
That's amazing. That's amazing. Yeah. And like seeing all this process and, seeing like a painter using it as a final product, as a final, that's amazing. Yeah. Here comes the oil effect. Here comes the oil painting. This is what I like most. Like there's oil and, watercolor in the same technique. This is amazing. And I like to go like strong here, you know what I mean? Like bold, creating some textures, you know what I mean? Creating contrast here and there. See how, um, for me, this is amazing. Like we have contrast here, never, that I never ever seen before. Like watercolor contrast with oil contrast,
And the same paint.
in the same paint. So this is amazing. I don't know. I'm just painting with Norma Blue every day. Something like that.
Thank you. Thank you. And maybe to just finish the short production uh, excurse is that also with the Norma professional and the traditional paints, Mussini, Norma, we add another step to besides the milling to really get the maximum out of the pigments is a ripening process. So after the milling, after the fifth or fourth to fifth milling, we fill the paint into buckets rather than straight into the tube. Why do we do so? That the surplus of oil we can take off. And if you maybe you know from a student paint, oil paint, it could happen that a huge drop of oil sits on top.
Right.
And this is something we absolutely want to avoid in our premium paints. So,
Absolutely.
but it's a natural process of an oil paint during the production. It loves oil, so it takes lot of oil on it, and
Right.
which it releases after some time. And we do the release outside, um, so outside of the tube, so that just the purest paint get filled into the tube.
Right. Wow. That's amazing.
How long do you think it takes us to produce a single tube of oil paint?
Well, that's a great question. Probably, I have no idea. Let me guess here. Wow, 5 days, much so.
Well, give it another try, Ari. Give it another
Another try.
try.
5 days, like let's go crazy. 20 days.
Well, let's go even crazier. It takes
Mamma
up to
mia.
4 to 5 months
Oh,
to
jeez,
produce
five
it.
months to
And
produce.
this is because of the ripening time. It's not an efficiency
Yeah, of
problem here. It's
course.
about the ripening. And we, as you dedicate time to the painting, we dedicate the time to the paint and give the paint the time they need to to settle and to ripen
Wow.
till
Yeah,
to ensure the richness of the pigments.
that's amazing. That's why, when I create this meeting here, this demo livre, my goal was, to explain people things like that, man, unthinkable things like that, you know what I mean? Like taking days, months to create like a single tube of color, and the importance to have it like here. And wow, that's crazy.
Indeed. Indeed.
That's crazy. That's about, that's why it's important to understand the materials and the process. And it's not like that, you know what I mean? Like we talk about that a lot in the school, like how long takes to do something, how long takes to learn, how long takes to learn swimming, how long takes to um, learn painting. I want to learn something today, like nowadays, like a magic. There is many formulas to learn things in 2 3 days, right? There is like a magic formula to create something in 2 days. Oh, I'm gonna create like a pigment in 2 days or whatever. So when we provoke people, we provoke our students at school, right? Asking them like, how long takes things nowadays? Are they fast, or they are like they take a learning process or whatever takes the same time as always did? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, this is amazing because of course the social media it's not a bad thing, but creates like an illusion that things are fast. Things are not fast. Can things have like the normal process, the right process to be created, to be learned. So we have the impression of things are fast, but let's just stop and wait a little bit. Um, the
It's
impression of things are bigger than what they really are. You know what I think? Sounds a little philosophy, but yeah, it is. Yeah, it's crazy. Um, I'm about to stop here. Just, you know, more 10, 15 minutes. I think I'm done. The most important things are here already. Um, you have some questions, Marcel, or anybody?
I'm following it in detail, Ari. So that's wonderful.
Thanks, man. Yeah, see?
But maybe the audience have some more questions to we could answer
True.
maybe in
Yeah,
Portuguese or in
definitely.
Castellano.
Yeah, let me do that right now. Do they have some questions over there, please? Yeah, yeah. Let me just. I'm gonna create this thing here, and then
Yeah.
I answer them. Sure. And sometimes this is the best, brush ever. Like a piece of paper. You
Mm.
fold it, and we can create some connections here and there. Bam, bam. This this kind of thing gives character. You know what I mean? For me, it's kind of important. Breaking some rules and uh, yeah, yep, yep.
Perfect. Wow.
Otherwise, you'll be all the same. So this is not a this is a painting. With Norma Blue, I have to respect the product. So the product does that. Um, I'm just listening to the product. That's important. I'm listening to the painting, and the
You get
painting.
into a connection with the
Yeah,
paint.
yeah, yeah. Something like that. Exactly.
You're engaging.
Yeah. This is about engagement. Definitely, it is. Yeah, yeah, true. I like that, Marcel. Engage it. It's about an engagement. So I didn't use this red here, see? Yeah. I'm learning how also, like I'm learning how this Norma colors works. And you know why? Let's finish, just finish. Let's use a little bit more here too. Let me show you something. This is good. This is what I like. We can mix it up. We can put some water right here, mix it up even with the, you know, with the scraper or whatever. And some texture. This is important.
It's also a wonderful question in the chat saying, what's the primary difference between using a pure watercolor from a tube and Norma Blue? Is Norma Blue softer or runnier? From Roberta. That's a brilliant question, and this goes back to the technique, and maybe Ari, you can also explain it in your words.
Yeah.
Is watercolor, there's already water in the paint, so water is part of the formulation. So I would say that watercolor as such is a little is softer or runnier, as Roberta said, in contrast to Norma Blue, which is basically an oil paint. So it has the consistency, the body, which a watercolor wouldn't have. What do you say, Ari?
Yeah. I could say the difference. For example, now I'm painting with oil. This is oil for me. Now, at this step, at this stage here in the painting, I'm painting with oil. It's like to have a car that you can run in 300 kilometers in autobahn and even go to like dirty land, dirty street,
To the
dirty
countryside.
countryside, yeah. And this car is like, it's great doing both, something like that.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
No, and I would say in terms of viscosity, they are different. You might can compare a gouache to viscosity wise to an oil paint, has a bit more body, but watercolor is much more fluent, as it's has water inside. I hope Roberta is happy with the explanations.
Did you get that, Roberta? Roberta lives in Minnesota, right, Roberta? Roberta is from the United States. An artist.
Columbus, Ohio.
Columbus, Ohio, yeah.
I've been there 2 years ago in the Midwest.
No, that's true. I remember.
Beautiful city.
Some, some visual landscapes, some visual language here. And yeah, with some paper. And now let's just, create some. This is oil. Now I'm working with oil. Like oil does that. Watercolor never. And see, I just mix it up with some I clean up the brush with some water, and then I come here with the brush with some water. That's interesting.
So Roberta has added another question. So what keeps you from doing the same thing with your watercolor tube, Ari?
Oh, I didn't get that, Roberta. Ask ask me again, please. What's the question?
So I believe she said,
What
can you
keeps you
do
from
the
doing?
same what you do right now with watercolor?
Roberta, straight from the tube, yes, but acts differently, right? When I work from the tube here, I'm working with oil, but watercolor wants like touch the surface with some water, act acts differently. It's kind of hard to explain like in words. You have to try, but as I can say, as my perception can feel um, when this pigment here straight from the tube touch here. This is oil, has texture, mainly has lots of texture. We can do like the impasto here. We can do the impasto here with the paint from the tube. Yeah. Yeah. And the thing that I like in oil is like we can change everything. We can keep like painting forever. We can keep going and going and going. I can come back here tomorrow and change everything. That's different of watercolor. Watercolor, you have to start and finish 40 minutes. For me, is like that. It's like that. So here you can keep going. So, and I like to keep the approach of watercolor also. Once I stop, I don't come back here again. Like normally we do with oils. We keep doing, we keep going, right? Even if like come here again tomorrow in this painting, I just, once I decide to stop, I just stop like that. I like to keep the freshness of the moment,
Roberta says something very valuable. The drying time seems to be a big difference, and that's actually the case because Norma Blue is an oil paint, so
Yeah,
it dries much longer than a watercolor.
definitely.
So
Yeah. This
because
painting,
there's no water which actually evaporates and then it's dry. But on the other hand, it also dries faster than a traditional oil color. So
yeah,
I would
yeah,
consider that it sits somewhat in between, closer to oil, most certainly, but it's dries faster.
yeah, yeah. And this is
And the
amazing.
thinner you paint, or the more water you then use to dilute your paint, the quicker it dries, I would say.
Yeah. This is great because you can do that. And I'm coming back here again with some water, see? And it is like creating totally different things. There's many effects here that can be done just at this stage. You know, this is amazing because like I'm discovering things during the process myself. There's things that has to be like, done at this point of thing. I cannot do some marks or some effects in the beginning. I have to wait, I have to create, I have to start like, and then I can apply like this and that and some trips and things, and yeah, I just love it. I'm almost about to stop here. I have to do that last,
Last details.
yeah, details are important. Like they are the jewelry, the last details. and create some dark here. Even with some water. Unload.
So which colors would you recommend, Ari, for a start? If someone is now after your beautiful demo is interested in trying, which colors would you recommend as a starting point, or is there no recommendation,
No,
just feel free and grab it?
no, there is a recommendation. Try to work with the primaries, yellows, reds, and blues, and you're gonna, you're gonna learn a lot from them, from the colors. Like work with the primers always, and some burnt color should be enough, like for a beginner. Don't use like bigger range of colors. If you like want to get some like 12 colors, arrange them in terms of primers. Get 16 colors, but arrange them in terms of primers. You're gonna be happy. I'm about to finish. Just creating some connections here and there. I'm using like a canvas with a smooth surface like glass texture. Just because I like it. I don't like much texture in the sport I'm using. Even when I'm painting with a pure watercolor, I don't use. I mean, in my work, right? For some specific thing, I like to use texture, but has to be like for a specific thing. Why should I use texture? Has to like as a reason. I don't know. Kind of like that. Could be sort of different, but that's important. I decide to stop. I'm gonna stop right here. Stop. So I try to do not come back again. That's important because in oil you can, as I said before, you can paint forever, never finish the painting. So this is I keep that rule for me. Once I stop, I stop. That's it, and I like it. Yeah, yeah, I like it. You have to paint. You have to paint to yourself also. If you like it, perfect, right? Don't paint for the social media. Don't paint for your husband, for mom, anybody, for a student. Paint for yourself. Paint to yourself. Paint for yourself. Yeah, let's do something here that I'm missing. Maybe one or another. But I love it because this is a water stain. Makes the roads are dirty. The what I want to say here, the dirtiness of some roads that that we pass through, and I use that visual language to show that that crispy and dirt road, plus the water stains, together with oil marks, oil impastos in oil are the best thing for me. The reason to use oils is to work with impasto, like the brush marks and the texture and everything. Yeah. kind of like it. We have some contrast, we have some movement, we have some connections, we have some rhythm, we have what we need to communicate something. This is good. Yeah, perfect.
Wonderful.
I'm gonna take a picture of this painting and send to the, to the group. Nice. Let's check the chat. Gente, se tiver alguma pergunta, quer mandar no chat do Zoom, do YouTube, vou dar uma olhada aqui. Legal, gente. Roberta perguntando, respondendo isso. Ela foi lançada has been launched in the last fair in Frankfurt, the Creative World. I think it's the most important fair for products and materials, art materials. Is that right, Marcel?
It is. So it's for us the main event in the year where we release new products and meet with partners from all over the world, and
Cool.
we're already planning for the next year, so stay tuned.
Yeah, sure. I want to go there. Maybe I'm gonna make my plans, but it's huge. It's a huge fair. I got impressed. So professional. Everybody's there.
Yeah.
Gracias, Marlene, Lisetti. Let me just say hi here. Let me put you again at a spotlight. Here we are, Marcel.
Thank you. Thank
Let
you.
me double check here in the YouTube. Thanks. Please explain in Portuguese, many understand in English. Yeah, but I'm sorry, guys. That was about a meeting mainly in English, but yeah. Thanks. People are, saying just, Adriani, there is someone here asking how long it takes to get dry. Quanto tempo leva para secar a pintura? Isso aqui em uma semana vai estar mais, uns 10 dias vai estar 100% seco. Se fosse óleo puro, eu considero um mês para secar 100%. Porque eu gosto de trabalhar com impasto, então o impasto ele demora mais para secar. Mas essa aqui que tem um pouco impasto vai demorar uns 10 dias. 10 days to get dry. If it was pure Norma, could take like a month. Depends on the impasto. If the artist works with impasto, takes longer. I like a little impasto, so it takes 1 month at least. But this Norma Blue takes 10, 15 days. Yeah.
Yeah, much longer. And it depends on the thickness of the layer and so
Exactly.
it's not a precise day where you can say, well, now it's dry.
Now it's dry, exactly. I was saying depends on the impasto, right? If the impasto is so thick, takes forever. Can take even 3 months. A pure oil can take 3 months. Yeah, that's good. We have 2 hours talking, 1 hour and 15
Wow.
minutes. We just went easy, and that was a very nice conversation. Marcel, I have many questions, more questions than when I started, very interesting, to learn about the factory, the product, and I'm so excited to, for the opportunity to go up here and make you a visit, and let's plan for next year for sure. Thank you very much.
Yeah, no, it's would be a pleasure to have you, and it was wonderful to talk to you and see your live painting and see how you're bringing life to the colors. So it was inspiring to me, and thank you so much for having me, and the chance to talk a bit about what's our daily life here.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. It was a nice meeting. I thank you. Thanks a lot. Thank everybody. This meeting will be recorded in YouTube, You guys can, watch and rewatch and, get back again. And obrigado, gente, de ter participado com a gente. A gravação vai ficar, o YouTube vai ficar gravado, tá? Vocês podem assistir, depois eu vou mandar o link no grupo. E, e é isso. Se vocês tiverem alguma dúvida, quiser aprender mais sobre o material, eu estou estudando muito ele, estou pintando, como eu falei, estou produzindo uma série que eu quero apresentar o ano que vem, uma série só desse produto, desse Norma Blue, do óleo diluível em água. Estou descobrindo coisas maravilhosas com ele. Assim, eu posso dizer para vocês, em um resumo do material, é uma mistura de óleo e aquarela, uma terceira via. Tem o pintor a óleo, tem o pintor de aquarela, e tem esse material que ele te dá uma terceira via de possibilidades. Ele te dá uma terceira gama de possibilidade na pintura, tá? Tanto que, assim, eu adotei como meu material, tá? Oficialmente é o material que eu estou usando hoje, atualmente é o material que eu estou usando. Não abandonei a aquarela em hipótese nenhuma, tá? A aquarela, para mim, ela é a técnica, assim, favorita, e eu adotei isso porque a, o meu desejo de pintura é saciado com aquarela, e aqui nesse material também é saciado com aquarela, com o plus, com o que o óleo pode oferecer, tá? Quem pinta óleo, quem gosta de óleo, pode ter o mesmo prazer aqui do óleo, e para quem pinta aquarela, pode ter o mesmo prazer aqui da aquarela com algo a mais diferente. Não é aquarela, não é óleo, tá? Eu vou pintar com isso, esperando que não vai ter uma resposta. Aquarela é aquarela, óleo é óleo, Norma Blue é Norma Blue, um óleo à base d'água. Eu posso dizer que é uma terceira via, porque te dá possibilidades totalmente novas de trabalho. Então, posso resumir essa é uma impressão final do material. Ah, Vou estar lançando mais para frente, de repente, algum curso sobre esse material, mas não tenho data prevista, não tenho previsão para isso. Vou falar sobre ele na escola, a gente vai testar com os alunos nos cursos do ano que vem, certamente, tá? E se tiver algum curso aberto, assim, eu vou comunicar a vocês. Mas, basicamente, eu vou estar mostrando mais sobre esse produto, porque eu estou pintando com ele. Basicamente, ele é o meu produto hoje que eu mais adoro pintar, estou mais gostando de pintar, então vou estar falando mais sobre ele. Vocês, se gostaram, se querem saber mais, vão me acompanhando. Eu vou estar fazendo alguma postagem para falar de algum detalhe, de alguma coisa. Vou estar mostrando o meu trabalho, tá, com ele devagarinho. Estou preparando já uma série para o ano que vem, mostrar o resultado de estudo. Então, obrigado também, gente, de estar presente aqui, de ter participado. Para quem está no Zoom, para quem está no YouTube, na próxima Demo Livre é no dia 11. A gente vai pintar e a gente vai falar sobre figurativismo, sobre semi-abstração e sobre abstração. Um tema super sutil e que tem muitas vias de pensamento, muitas opiniões. A gente vai trazer aqui o que nós, na escola, como nós encaramos esses três pontos, tá? Essas três formas de expressão da arte, desde o figurativismo extremo até a abstração total, tá? Então a gente vai estar falando sobre isso e, claro, pintando muito. Todos bem-vindos, bem-vindas. Espero vocês no dia 11. Da mesma forma, manda o link no grupo do Zoom, da Demo Livre no WhatsApp. A gente vai ter no Zoom, vai ter no YouTube. Então, obrigado, gente. Grazie, Marcel. Thanks again. And keep in touch.
Obrigado a todos, grazie y bueno, gracias. And thanks to you. And yeah, was really lovely. Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys. Thank you, guy. Thanks. Gente, obrigado. Beijo para vocês. Obrigado. Valeu.
Ciao,
Nos
ciao.
vemos dia 11. Obrigado, gente.